Thank you very much, and I'm delighted to be able to speak with you today. It's always an honor to be part of the Millennium Technology Prize. Innovation, excellence, collaborating to build a better world. These are values that we at Nokia share, and that last one is critical. If we are to solve the biggest challenges the world faces, from climate change to building stronger economies and more inclusive societies, then collaboration is key. And that's what we want to do at Nokia. We create the technology that helps the world act together. That is our new purpose as an organization. So we are enablers. It could be small, but essential for the world's smartphones, laptops, tablets, and devices to function, like the audio and video coding that is enabling you to watch this event. Or it could be big, like helping put a man on the moon, or more accurately, put the first woman and another man on the moon. As you can see here, NASA has selected Nokia to build the first ever cellular network on the moon. A low-power, space-ready LTE communication system on the lunar surface. This system will enable remote control of lunar rovers, real-time navigation, and streaming of high-definition video. And when astronauts return to the surface, the aim is to have wireless connectivity like we do on Earth to share telemetry and biometric data with mission control. NASA's ambition is to use that lunar presence to launch expeditions from the moon to Mars by the end of this decade. I was 5 years old when Neil Armstrong made one giant leap for mankind. To think Nokia will play a small part in sending the next group of people to the moon, well, that's pretty cool. It also reminds me of the story about President Kennedy's visit to NASA during the space race. Mr. Kennedy stopped to talk to a janitor and asked the man what he did there. The janitor replied, "Mr. President, I'm helping put a man on the moon." Now, whether that story is true or not, it does demonstrate that thinking big starts with small acts. Each of us playing our part towards a common goal. The 4G age has often been the search for a killer app. But the 5G age, which has only just started, is about bringing together the world's people, machines, and devices, using our collective intelligence to solve the big problems. 5G is the technology that enables collective intelligence on a global scale. The 5G-enabled critical networks we create together with our customers help leverage the cumulative power of millions of small acts. And if the pandemic has shown us one thing, it's that we need to work together on a global scale to solve global challenges. So let's look at 3 big challenges the world faces and the potential of small acts to make a difference. How do we feed a growing global population? How do we transition from fossil fuels to renewable energy? And how do we build a safer world? Let's take the first one. How do we feed a growing population, and without destroying our planet? The global population is projected to reach 10 billion by 2050. Already the UN estimates that 10% of our current global population, over 820 million people, go hungry. It's not only a question of increasing supply. 1/3 of the food we produce each year is lost or wasted, some 1.3 billion tons of food. And we can't simply clear more farmland and use more pesticides. We need to feed more people more sustainably. One of the ways we do that is by increasing the efficiency of our food production through smart agriculture. One element of that is precision farming. Using technology such as wireless remote monitoring, private networks, digital sensors, and AI-based analytics to minimize pesticide, fertilizer, and water usage and maximize yields. Nokia's Bell Labs Consulting estimates that if 15 to 25% of all farms adopted precision farming by 2030, it would lead to an increase in yields of up to 300 million tons each year, a reduction in farming costs of up to $100 billion, and reduced water use by up to 150 billion cubic meters annually. Small steps on global scale, but considering food systems are currently responsible for 20 to 30% of global greenhouse gas emissions and 70% of biodiversity loss, smart agriculture could kickstart the digital transformation of the entire food industry. A good example of that in effect is our work with the Vodafone Foundation in India. Over 400 sensors have been deployed in over 100,000 hectares of farmland to collect data points, which are analyzed by a cloud-based and localized smart agriculture app. This real-time information assists farmers with better crop management on everything from irrigation to pesticide control to changing weather patterns. In this pilot project, our worldwide IoT network grid solution, or WING for short, has helped 50,000 Indian farmers improve resource efficiency, achieve higher yields, and grow high-quality soy and cotton crops. Another agricultural innovation is blockchain food traceability. I'm sure you have all heard of blockchains when it comes to things like cryptocurrencies. But as you can see here on this slide, blockchains can also be used to monitor information about food moving through the supply chain, making it impossible for the data to be manipulated. As a result, farmers, manufacturers, and retailers can justify premiums for certain products, and consumers can be more confident about the source and quality of their food. If half of the world's supply chains were tracked by blockchain, food loss could be reduced by 10 to 30 million tons a year, according to the World Economic Forum. That may only be 1 to 2% of total annual food loss, but on a global scale, that would give us the capacity to feed millions more people from the food we produce right now. Small acts, big difference. Let's look now at the energy revolution currently underway, a subject close to my heart as it is a sector I used to work in. We are moving from the age of fossil fuels into the age of renewables. As this slide shows, clean power like solar and wind is now part of the global energy mix, while the proportion of coal use is decreasing. This means power grids that were designed for centralized power plant generation need to be able to deal with an array of different energy sources and weather-dependent renewables that require storage. To ensure the lights stay on when the sun doesn't shine or the wind doesn't blow, we need smart power grids that can manage that complexity. That will require greater digitalization and automation. One of the things they need to be able to handle is two-way energy flow as consumers and businesses increasingly microgenerate their own power. Virtual power plants, as shown here, will support traditional bulk generation in the energy networks of the future. They turn microgeneration into a networked source of reliable power. The real challenge for energy companies is figuring out how to seamlessly match supply and demand in a massively distributed system. Of course, energy generation is only one part of the equation. Improving energy efficiency is also key. Nokia recently pledged to cut emissions by 50% from our own operations and products in use by 2030. Increasing 5G rollouts will play a part as our research indicates that 5G can be up to 90% more energy efficient than existing 4G networks. Another way is through innovations like liquid-cooled 5G base station sites, which use around a third less energy and can reduce CO2 emissions by up to 80% per base station. These are just a couple of examples of how we are trying to make our own products more energy efficient, but there are many other ways we are supporting our customers to cut energy waste through the digitalization and automation of their operations. Increasingly, the critical networks we create are driven by three factors: efficiency, doing more with less; productivity, doing more with the same; and safety, keeping people, property, and the environment out of harm's way. This brings me to the third and final topic I want to talk about: building a safer world. Starting with our workplaces and roads. Thankfully, we live in an age where, for many workers, the biggest hazard is keyboard related. But we should not forget that many jobs in critical industries come with risks. Take mining, for example. It remains one of the most dangerous industries even in developed nations. But things are changing. This is the mining industry's first autonomous haulage system running on a private wireless LTE network. It has a zero-harm safety record and can operate in a range of different mining environments. More than half of Komatsu's production sites around the world are now running these automated vehicles on Nokia's industrial-grade private wireless technology. A full truck fleet can be monitored by a single controller and can be operated 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The mining industry has been relatively conservative in adopting new technologies, but it is making up for lost time with an accelerated digital transformation, from IoT sensors to analytics, machine learning and AI to achieve full automation from pit to port. This is dramatically changing the industry and helping it to become safer, more productive, more efficient and less environmentally damaging. Nokia has already created private networks at over 40 mines across the world. In fact, our experience working in those harsh environments is helping us to create the communication networks for NASA on the moon. Another good example of the potential of 5G and private networking is to improve safety in ports. In one instance, we saw remote-controlled cranes doubling productivity and eliminating staff injuries altogether. The future of industrial mobility could look a lot like this. Autonomous ships docking at ports, remote-controlled unloading of cargo, platoons of automated guided vehicles carrying it away, and then automated unloading at warehouses. Seamless, safer, faster and more efficient. Now I know some of you will be thinking, do safer workplaces mean fewer jobs? Not necessarily. We believe technology can expand the number and types of physical roles workers can perform safely in a range of industries, from logistics and transportation to construction and mining. For example, a miner will be able to use robots and exoskeletons to accomplish physical tasks beyond any human's capacity while remaining completely protected from hazards and exposure to toxic substances. At the same time, AI and machine learning will change the nature of cognitive roles. It does not need to be a case of robots replacing humans, but of assisting us and augmenting our skills so we can achieve more. We will see the rise of a new class of jobs handled by workers that blend human and machine skills and deliver a higher cognitive and physical performance. We expect that 70% of all jobs will be reliant on a blend of human and machine skills by 2030. And I'm delighted we have a robotics professor on our forum today, and I look forward to hearing her thoughts on this fascinating subject. We need to remember that technology only gives us the tools to build a better world. It is up to us to make the right decisions. A clear example of that is when a groundbreaking technological innovation comes along with the potential to save lives on an enormous scale. An invention like the human seatbelt. Since the three-point seatbelt was introduced by Volvo in 1959, it is estimated to have saved more than 1 million lives globally and reduced serious injuries for millions more. But it took legislation and education before we realized the potential of that technology to save lives. Now we are entering a new age for road transport with new technology that could eventually deliver accident-free driving. Cars connected to each other and their surroundings through 5G and edge cloud computing. Vehicles able to exchange information in real time and send warnings to avoid collisions. And we are not talking about everyone going out and buying a top-of-the-range new car. Thanks to AI and distributed edge clouds, we could retrofit existing vehicles fairly simply and cheaply to make our roads safer. We have already demonstrated the road safety potential of Nokia's multi-access edge computing in real urban settings in Spain, Germany, Austria, and Italy. Eventually, fully electric cars will be fully automated and integrated into smart transit systems alongside public transport and pedestrians. More than 1.3 million people die on the roads globally each year, and more than 90% of fatal car accidents are caused by human error. It will take legislation, education, and public dialogue before we can fully use these new technologies to make driving safer. But the destination of travel is clear. There is one global challenge that I have mentioned that is connected to all three. Climate change is perhaps the biggest challenge humanity faces after this pandemic. We can't all move to the moon. This planet is all we have. It is going to take many small acts to make that giant leap forward on Earth. From smart agriculture and sustainable farming to clean energy and improved energy efficiency to smarter, less polluting ways of working, traveling, and living. All of the things I have spoken about and much more. We need the world to act together to solve the climate challenge. And I believe we can, and we will. Thank you.